Hello lovely, thank you so much for joining me today. I just wanted to do a quick little introduction as I have started my full makeup collection and inventory. It's split into multiple sections. Today we're going to be looking at my foundations, and then the next one will be primers and concealers. I think I'm starting to forget what order I did it in, but I just want to mention before you get into the video that I do have two makeup collections. I have my makeup collection here at home, and I also have a makeup collection at my caravan. My caravan makeup collection is mostly drugstore, and then here I've got a mix of high-end drugstore, luxury, that sort of thing, but more high-end and luxury than drugstore here. I sort of transferred a lot of my drugstore to the caravan, apart from stuff that I really love and wanted to keep here. So this isn't really going to be a declutter. There may be the odd declutter as I go along, but I've sort of sworn off declutters for the moment, as I am trying to work through my collection and figure out what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what I love, what I don't love. I'm doing some project pans, and I'm on a no buy / low buy, so I'm trying not to declutter at the moment. But if I come across something that's expired, or I just know I'm never ever going to use it again, then I will either dispose of it or ask my mum or aunt or another family member if they want it. So small disclaimer, I do have a very large makeup collection. I know that this is more makeup than anybody can ever need or use in one lifetime. I am aware of that, but makeup has been my hobby for as long as I can remember. Some of my earliest memories are makeup related. So I have been on a more low buy over the last couple of months. I tried to do a full no buy but haven't been very successful, but I have bought in a lot less makeup over the last few months than I have for a long time. My focus is really on using what I have and really getting to know what I've got in my collection. Where I have added to my collection, I have included that in the video. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, if you like makeup content, reviews, hauls, declutters, makeup collections, bit of project panning and a bit of like real life style, then please do subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love to have you here. Give me a like and leave me a comment if you've enjoyed this video and if you want to see more from me. And without further ado, let's get on with the video, and I really hope you enjoy. Okay lovely, so as usual my setup isn't ideal, but we're just gonna muddle through and do it the best that we can. So I had a small procedure done yesterday, and I'm feeling I'm in a lot of pain, and as much as I would like to have done this in a different location, I just can't get out of bed today. So I hope this is okay, and I might have to keep stopping and starting when I get uncomfortable, things like that. But I did really want to film today. I put up a poll on Instagram and on my community tab on YouTube, and people did vote for seeing longer form collection videos from me, so having a proper deep dive into every single part of my collection and having a look at what I'd got. So today we are going to be doing foundations. Usually I would show you them in situ in the drawer, but it's so heavy, the drawer is, and I've got foundations in different places, so I've just piled everything onto the bed. So this is my array of foundations. I've got here skin tints, medium and full coverage all together. One thing I will say is obviously I do have two makeup collections. I have my makeup collection here and I have my makeup collection at the caravan. I'm currently at home. So these are sort of slightly awkward to film, but the collection videos that I'm going to be doing are going to be solely on my home makeup collection. And then I'll do, next time I'm at the caravan, if anybody's interested, I'll do a caravan makeup collection in the various, you know, categories. So this isn't all of the foundations I own. In my spreadsheet for my inventory, I have both caravan and home collections combined, but for numbers sake for these videos I will recount so I know what I've just got here at home. So sorry about that big long-winded second intro, but there was just some things that I'd forgotten to say in the original intro. So what I'm going to do now is arrange them in sort of like light coverage and then medium to full coverage, and we'll go through all these. Okay, so I've started off with more traditional foundations, more medium to full coverage. The top ones are sort of more affordable, and then going into the higher end and luxury. So starting from the top, I have the Milani Screen Queen. This is discontinued now, I think, but this is sort of a long time favourite foundation of mine. It's a nice medium coverage with a natural finish. The colour 150 Cool Shell is absolutely spot on to my skin tone, so that's always good as a pale princess. Just for reference, I am extremely fair skinned, almost translucent, and I have a cool neutral leaning cool undertone. I do have a lot of pink in my skin because I suffer from rosacea. So that is the Milan. Oh, and also I am 39, so I have a more mature skin, and my skin is very dry, and because the rosacea can be quite dehydrated. So that's a little bit of an insight into my shade and undertone and the type of skin that I have. So the Milani Screen Queen, really love it. Don't understand why they discontinued it. This was such a good foundation. Then I have the Revolution Skin Silk. This is in the shade F3. Again, another great colour match for me. Some of these foundations I've never used, and some of them I may have used once, but I've completely forgotten what I thought about them. And I can't even remember if I've used this one or not. Doing these videos is going to be good for me to highlight things that I need to pull in Shop My Stashes, and because I've been trying to do like project panning, I've been very hyper focused on certain products, and a lot of my collection has gone untouched, which is one of the reasons why makeup project panning I've realised just isn't for me. But yeah, I've heard really great things about this foundation, and I usually do really like Revolution's base products. So then a newer foundation to my collection, I got this in March or April, I think. This is the Rimmel Lasting Radiance. The colours on the Rimmel foundations aren't great. They seem to lean very warm toned. So this is 010 Light Porcelain, which I think was the lightest shade, and as you can see, this one looks very warm toned. You can see it's got sort of like a radiance running through it, and I've heard this is sort of like a dupe, or at least very similar to the Makeup by Mario foundation, which is why I wanted to try this one. I love a glow, so I'm excited to try that one. Then I have the Be Perfect Chroma Cover. This one, believe it or not, is actually a little bit too light for me. This is in the shade C1. I could have perhaps done with a shade darker. This is super full coverage, but looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. And they do another one, the original chroma cover, which is a matte finish, and then this is the luminous, so it has a beautiful radiance to it, which I think sometimes is difficult to find in very full coverage foundations. I find very full coverage tends to be more matte or like a demi matte finish, whereas this has a lovely glow to it. And my skin looked absolutely flawless the day that I used this. It was a super hot day and it lasted really well through the heat and through a flare up. The one time I wore this foundation, I had a flare up out in public, which is always fun. Then similar vein to the Be Perfect Chroma Cover is the Holly Boon. So this is the HMB Cosmetics Luminous Soft Focus Airbrush Foundation. This is in the shade LF3C, and this one for some reason looks quite yellow on my skin, even though it says cool. So I'm not sure if it's a case with the Holly Boon foundations, the HMB, that they're the same as like the MAC shade range, where like cool actually means warm and warm actually means cool. But this, I filmed a video when I wore this and I looked jaundiced. It didn't look that bad in person, but on camera it looked so yellow. I looked completely the wrong shade. So but in person, I can make this work for me. I just need to have like a little bit of a tan, or to mix it with something a little bit lighter. For instance, mixing these two together would be like the perfect shade. Then another new one that I haven't tried yet, this is the ELF Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I got mine in the shade 20 Light Cool, and this does look like a spot on shade match for me. I've never tried any of the ELF foundations. I've only tried the concealer and the Camo CC powder foundation. So I'm excited to try this. I tend to love everything I get from ELF, so I have sort of a good feeling about this. And then another favourite, more affordable, is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. Again, this is a spot on shade match for me. This is in the shade Shell. You can see I have been focusing on this one in a project pan, trying to get 10 uses out of it, but as you can see, this just doesn't seem to move. I've used this foundation so many times and I'm sure I'm only like here, so it's feels like it's one of those foundations that's never ending, or it could be a case that I'm actually down to here but can't see through it properly. I don't know. But you can't get this in the UK anymore, which is such a shame. But this is a really nice foundation. It's older in my collection, but it's still fine, still performs great. Quite full coverage, but has a lovely glow to it. Really nice foundation. Then I have the Too Faced Born This Way. This is the like natural finish one. They've got like the matte one, which is in the slimmer packaging. This is just a nice foundation, nothing to write home about, but I can't find anything about it that I don't like. Good colour match for me. This is in the shade Swan. It lasted well on my skin, covered how I wanted it to cover, but there was nothing that I could say, oh my god, this is a beautiful foundation. Do you know what I mean? It was just a good, fine foundation. Okay, now moving on to the more higher end ones, we have the Dior Forever Skin Glow. Oops, this is one of my favourite foundations, but unfortunately they have reformulated this. This is the old formulation, and I don't like the new formulation as much as the original. I've had a few samples of it, and I much prefer this original formulation. This is in the shade, what shade are you? 1N, and this is just a lovely natural finish foundation. Perfect medium coverage, lasts a long time on the skin. This is one that I tend to wear if I'm going out somewhere nice, like if I've got a special occasion to go for and I want a more natural look rather than a super full coverage, full beat glam. This is the one that I will go for. It's a beautiful foundation. The one that I reach for if I'm going for a full beat glam, I want to cover everything and I want my makeup to be bulletproof, is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This is in the shade number 1. I got this foundation free with an order that I did on Charlotte Tilbury several years ago, and this is one of my all-time favourite foundations. You need such a small amount of product. It's, as I say, super full coverage, but it doesn't make you look cakey or dead. You know, I've got drier, more mature skin, and this doesn't sort of settle into lines or look gross on my skin or anything like that. It's beautiful foundation, and I don't use it very often because this is my like going out foundation, and I barely leave the house anymore. But if I'm doing like lashes and a smoky eye and all that, this is the one that I go for. Then another luxury foundation that I really love, and again I'm sure they've reformulated this. This is the Dior Backstage Face and Body. I'm so sorry about the lighting. I'm working completely by natural light and my camera's struggling with some of the focus. So this is the Dior Face and Body Foundation. I've got mine in the shade 1C. Again, this is an ideal match for me. I love this foundation. It's sort of like it's like a skin tint, so it's a lighter coverage. It's marketed as a lighter coverage, but I actually find it to be light to medium. It can be built up to like a good solid medium coverage. It has a more demi matte finish, so if you are wanting your makeup to last long, you know, last a good long time, skin tints I find don't last as long as like your more fuller coverage foundations, but this one does. This one lasts really, you know, a real long time on the skin, and as I say, it has that more demi matte finish. This is a great foundation for in the summer. I took this on holiday with me and it was a godsend. It's sort of like a great one for humidity, if it rains, you know, that sort of thing, because of that natural sort of more matte leaning finish, but it doesn't look dry or heavy or cakey or anything like that. It's really beautiful. And then another one that is an all-time favorite, but I haven't used it for such a long time. I really need to sort of refresh myself on how I feel about this foundation. This is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, and I've got mine in the shade 3.75. Great shade match for me. Luminous Silk's an absolute classic for a reason. It's just a nice medium coverage with very natural, slightly glowy finish, but nothing too over the top, nothing tin manny. It's not going to make you look greasy. lasts a long time on the skin, other makeup layers perfectly on top of it. But actually, out of my 2 Armani foundations, my favourite is the My Armani To Go, which is the cushion foundation. I absolutely love this. I never hear anybody talk about it, but it is one of my top favourite foundations. So easy to use, the colour match is perfect for me. I've got the shade 1. It's very similar to the Luminous Silk, but perhaps a little bit lighter on the skin, but it's beautiful. One that I would definitely repurchase when I run out of this. Then I have my 3 NARS foundations. Historically, I love NARS based products. This is actually my second one of these that I've been through. So starting off with my favourite, we've got the NARS Sheer Glow on the shade Mont Blanc in all of them, which is light 2. It's a great shade match for me. This is my absolute favourite. This is probably my top foundation out of everything that I own. Sort of perhaps sharing the top spot with the Giorgio Armani. I love this. I just think my skin looks its absolute best when I wear this. Again, it's like a light to medium coverage, but it can be built up to a solid medium. The shade match is perfect. It has a sort of a natural finish to it, as slightly radiant but nothing over the top. Everything blends perfectly on top of it and it wears really well. I love this one. And then, as I say, I've gone through, this is my second one of these I've had. This is the I can't remember, Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation, and I've got it again in the shade Mont Blanc. The one that I went through previously was a different shade, a more yellow toned one. But this is a great going out foundation again. This is more full coverage, but has that sort of like natural radiant finish, wears really well, you know, nice and long wearing, just a beautiful, very glamorous foundation. And then the one I know the least about is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I think, yeah, I've used this once and I don't really remember what I think about it, so I do need to pull this into a Shop My Stash soon. Again, shade Mont Blanc. From what I remember, I really liked it. I've never used a NARS product yet that I haven't liked. NARS have become one of my absolute favourite brands. So yeah, this, from what I remember, I liked it, but I do need to pull this into a Shop My Stash soon. And then this foundation, the House Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. I've got mine in the shade 050C. The House Labs foundations, I've recently found out they colour their foundations the same as MAC do. So I've got cool, but it actually means warm. So I didn't pick this foundation, I didn't buy this foundation. This was very, very kindly gifted to me by a friend who purchased this for herself, and it didn't work out for her because she's got oily skin. She knew I'd got very dry skin and wanted to try this foundation, and she sent it to me. So I'm so grateful for that, because I probably wouldn't have picked this up myself. But this, I wore this for the first time yesterday, and actually I couldn't have picked a better shade match if I'd bought it myself. It was perfect, completely seamless. And after using this yesterday, I think this will probably be up there as one of my top 5 foundations in the future. Obviously I've only used it once, so I can't, you know, give it that top spot yet, but this was beautiful. I did a very quick makeup look yesterday because of going to the hospital, and it was just, it looked beautiful, and it lasted all day through the procedure that I had done. through crying, sweating, almost passing out. It lasted beautifully. I loved this, so was really pleasantly surprised. So those are all of those ones. Now I'll go on to the lighter coverage, like skin tints. Okay, and now we're on to lighter coverage and skin tints. These are more my cup of tea. This is the sort of thing that I wear more on an everyday basis. Kind of an honourable mention, bit of an outlier, we have the Australian Gold Botanical Sunscreen SPF 50. I've got this with these because this is a tinted sunscreen that I can actually wear on its own, but if I want more of a full coverage, more glam look, and I'm going to be out in the sunshine, I can put a foundation over the top of this as well. But it looks really beautiful on the skin on its own. It's not super greasy like some tinted sunscreens are. It does sort of set itself down. The day that I wore it, I didn't put any powder or anything over it, and it was really beautiful. The only trouble with this is it's not very easy to get here in the UK. I had to get mine on Amazon. I also really love the Supergoop glow screen, but obviously this one it's more of like a tint rather than a glow, like the glow screen. But out of the two, I would potentially repurchase the Supergoop just because it's so much easier to get here in the UK. Okay, and now for skin tints. So for some drugstore options, we've got the Maybelline Superstay skin tint in the shade 05. This is marketed as skin tint, but I actually think it can be built up to a solid medium coverage. It's got really great staying power because it's from the Superstay line. It's a beautiful foundation slash skin tint. This wears so nicely. It has a nice bit of radiance to it, but it's not overly glowy. It's not like Tin Man-esque. But it just looks so beautiful on the skin. It does have that like radiance through it, which I know some people don't like, but as somebody with dry skin, more mature skin, I want that glow. I want my skin to look alive, and this is really beautiful. In a similar vein, we have the L'Oreal True Match Nude. This is again a beautiful tinted like skin tinted serum. I've got mine in the shade 0.5 to 2, very light. This one is slightly lighter in coverage, I would say, than the Maybelline, but again it wears beautifully, but perhaps not as long as the Maybelline, and it just looks really beautiful on the skin. It's so lightweight and comfortable, and just makes me look alive and, you know, healthy, and that's what I want in a foundation. Then an older favourite is the L'Oreal Age Perfect BB cover. I've got mine in the shade light Ivory 01, but this is a little tiny bit too dark for me. I tend to wear this when I've got a fake tan on, or I've caught a little bit of sun naturally. But this is really beautiful for a BB cream. It has amazing coverage. It's very similar to the It Cosmetics CC cream in its coverage and its finish. It has that like natural radiant finish. It's very hydrating, perhaps not suitable for somebody with oily skin, I would say. It's like the It Cosmetics, it's not super lightweight on the skin. You can sort of feel it, but it looks really beautiful. One of my favourite foundations, I would say. I love how it wears, love how it looks on my skin, and it's got SPF 50 in it as well, which is a great bonus. And then very similar to the L'Oreal, but I like this one a little bit more because it's a much better shade for me. This is the Max Factor Miracle Pure Skin Improving Foundation. This one's got SPF 30 and I've got the shade 35 Pearl Beige, and this is a spot on colour match for me. It feels lovely on the skin. It's a little bit lighter weight than the L'Oreal one. It wears really nicely. It feels like skincare, like a tinted sunscreen. It's really beautiful, and it just, it looks so nice on the skin and feels so nice. One of my absolute favourites. And then 3 that I'm ashamed to say I purchased and have not even tried them yet. I did a big Sculpted by Amy order when I was going through my shopping frenzy in March and the beginning of April. I'd been wanting to try her products for ages, and I've purchased them and I've not even used them, so I can't comment on these, unfortunately. The Hydra Tint is the one that she, I think, is most famous for. This one has got I think is like a more full coverage, and then this one is sort of similar to like Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, that sort of thing, but is like it can be worn as a standalone product. It's got a bit more coverage. So these 3, I can't say anything about them. I've got the shade 1 in the Tint and Glow, 1.5 in the Second Skin, and 1 in the Hydra Tint. Another one I haven't even used is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. Very ashamed to say I haven't even used this one yet. Had it quite a while now and I just haven't got round to using it. This needs to be a priority for a Shop My Stash soon. I've heard great things about this. I'm sure I will love it because it sounds like it's right up my alley. But and I do love the Charlotte Tilbury foundations that I've tried, but haven't tried it yet. Same for the Chanel Complexion Touch. This is the more full coverage version of the Water Fresh tint. When I say full coverage, it's not full coverage, but it has more coverage than this one. This is one of my all-time favourite base products, so I'm absolutely certain that I will love this one. I've got mine in the shade BR12. Speaking of the Chanel, this is one of my all-time favourite base products. I absolutely love this. I know this is quite polarising. Very, very little coverage. It has barely any coverage at all, but it just perfects your skin. This is the shade Light. You can use this sort of like underneath a foundation if you wanted to, as like a primer, something to give the skin hydration and a glow. But I wear this completely on its own. It's so pretty on the skin. It wears really nicely. You sort of have to, it's pigment pearls suspended in like a serum solution, and then as you sort of buff it into the skin, the pigment breaks and you get the coverage. It's stunning, absolutely top tier. Then the Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturiser, I've got mine in the shade 16C, I think. This is really nice. Very standard tinted moisturiser kind of formula, but wears really beautifully. Sort of a natural finish, not overly glowy. Very, very comfortable. Has a decent amount of coverage. Really like this. This is a great summertime everyday foundation. And then another one that I absolutely love is the Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint. Absolutely stunning, so pretty. It is very light coverage. Mine is in the shade 1. It does market it as a sheer coverage skin tint, but it has enough coverage to just make you look perfected. beautiful for older skin and dry skin. It just looks really beautiful on the skin, and it wears really nicely as well. First sort of like base product that I've tried from Summer Fridays, and I did buy the SPF. One of my top favourites is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder. You can see I've been working on this one in a project. This is probably my most used foundation of the year so far. I love this. I've had it a long time. I don't even know if she still does this. But this is just stunning. It reminds me of NARS Sheer Glow. It's sort of at that level for me. Both of those are sort of like top tier for me. This one has that sort of like, it gives you that life into the skin. It's radiant but not overly so. It photographs beautifully, it wears really nicely, and like the NARS Sheer Glow, I feel my best when I am wearing this foundation. And then one that I've had an awkward relationship with, another one that I have been working on this year and has probably tied for the Light Wonder with most used foundation. I actually may have used this one a little bit more. This one I find it, if I'm not careful with it, it can sometimes look a little bit dry and gather in certain areas on my skin. I've got the shade 3, shade 3. When I first bought it, I hated it. I did like a first impressions on it, I think, and I liked it, but then I continued to use it and I really didn't like it. I found it gathered into my dry areas. But now that I use like oils and things on my skin, this looks fine. It is more of a demi matte finish, so a good skin tint for in the summer and for the very hot days. It can be built up to more of a medium coverage. It wears really, you know, wears for a long time. It's not my favourite, but I also like it and don't want to part ways with it. You know, I've used quite a lot of it for me, and it is one that it's just a nice foundation. Then I have the NARS Tinted Moisturiser. I think they've since reformulated this, and I think I got the wrong shade, unfortunately, in this. I got the shade Greenland Light 3, and I think this is a little bit too warm for me. But it is a lighter coverage tinted moisturiser, so I can make it work. This was stunning when I used this. I went through a phase of only wanting to wear this, and again, this is one that I do need to pull into a Shop My Stash soon. I'm conscious of it being like having SPF in it. I don't want it to expire on me, but honestly, this is stunning. A lot of people love this foundation, this tinted moisturiser, and I can see why. I'm not sure if they it seemed like for a long time it was like on sale in a lot of places, and then I've recently seen it popping back up again, so I'm not sure if they did reformulate it or if they just sold out and then had to bring it back. I don't know, but mine would be the original version of this, and I really like this. One I'm having a difficult relationship with, this is the Iconic London Blurring Skin Tint. This was a birthday present off my parents this year. This had been on my wish list for such a long time because I know it's so many people's, like, was in their favourites for last year, and so many people I watch and trust love this foundation, but I really struggle with it. I have yet to use it and like what my skin looks like. I just find it sinks into all my lines. It clings to any dry patches. I can't seem to get this one to look good. I've tried different primers, different skin prep, I'm not going to give up on it because obviously it was a birthday present, and I'm not one to give up on makeup. I do try and make things work for me. So I am going to try this again now it's a little bit warmer. I was trying it in the winter when my skin was perhaps a little bit drier. So I am going to try it again soon. But I was very underwhelmed. This is the shade Cool Fair. Really good shade match for me, if slightly too light, believe it or not. It says Cool Fair, but it has a slight yellowness to it, which doesn't look the best on my skin, and which is why one of the reasons why I might be struggling with it, because the shade's not right. But like I said, I am going to continue trying with it and hopefully get this to work for me. And then the last one is my most recent purchase. I've heard very mixed reviews on this, but I was so curious about it. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint Stick Foundation. I haven't had a stick foundation for many years, and I used to love them. I've got mine in the shade 2 Fair. I want to try this as a standalone foundation, but I also want to try it as like a primer, because I've heard that this is basically the Hollywood Flawless Filter in a stick form. So I am going to try it a couple of different ways, but like I say, I've heard very negative things about it, and then I've heard that people love it, so I really do want to try it out for myself. But I've only had this less than a week, so that is everything. You may have been keeping count yourself, but I am now going to count everything up, and then I'm also going to show you my top 5. Okay, so my final count is 35 here, and then we'll just go through my top 5. These are in no particular order, like not 1 to 5 being 1 the best, 5 the worst. These are just top 5. So we've got the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless, NARS Sheer Glow, Chanel Water Fresh Tint, and then the Armani My Armani To Go. Those are my top 5 foundations of all time at the moment. It may change when I have tried some of these. So yeah, that's all my foundations, and that's it for today. Okay guys, awkward angle, but my arms are starting to hurt. I really hope you enjoyed the first segment of my makeup collection and inventory video. There is going to be a lot more to come. Thank you so much for watching if you made it through to the end. I know my videos are on the longer side, so I do massively appreciate anybody who, you know, sticks with me till the end. What are some of your favourite foundations? Are there any that you would recommend to me as somebody with more mature skin, who's on the drier side and is sort of a fair, neutral, leaning cool? Not that I need any more foundations, I need more makeup like a hole in the head, but I always like to hear your recommendations. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Love to you all. Bye.